Yeah, 6 point angles.
We don't have schools because of weather. Are we gonna have? Will you have?
6.1 angles with triangles.
Yeah.
I'll post it on Google Classroom.
Okay.
We will definitely be here every day this week.
If we happen to have an AMI day, anytime there's a chance of bad weather, you need to take like your binder, your student journal, and graph paper and stuff home.
You're kidding.
And then on your stuff will be posted on Google Classroom. There will not be a Google Meet. I'll just either have your worksheet posted on Google Classroom, and then you work it out on graph paper, or it'll be an assignment like on Big Ideas, and you do it on there.
What if they pick us up in tanks and bring us to school?
Miss Goodman, we're actually all going to my house.
Something's on fire. I smell it.
It was that candle.
It doesn't smell like a candle. It smells like wine.
Maddox, while you're sending that, will you pull that screen down, please?
Of course.
Don't break it.
Thank you, Lord. Alright, we're starting chapter 6
Good
today.
job on that.
It was like that when I got it.
I've never saw that
6.1,
before.
angles of triangles. I just got it last week.
What happened?
Our goal, students will be able to classify triangles by sides and angles. You did that before in elementary school, so we're going to move through that part rather quickly. And then students will be able to find the measures of angles of triangles using triangle sum theorem and exterior angle theorem. Now, the two theorems are pretty easy, but you're going to have to use those two along with other stuff to find missing angles of figures. Okay, so they're quite simple, and you've done it before in middle school and elementary school, but they're going to get just a tad bit more complicated.
They're not like a whale.
What kind of whales you
Like
look
the
at?
Alright, so first, we're going to talk about triangles. We discussed triangles previously in chapter 2. It was a polygon with 3 sides. Now we're going to talk about the types of triangles. Alright, so you can classify a triangle by its length of its sides. So right on the left where it says scalene triangles, you need to write that it has no congruent sides. So scalene triangles have no congruent sides. So there on the left where it says scalene triangles. It says scalene triangles. No congruent sides. That means no sides are the same. Where's your notes?
I was turning my binder. I was putting this
Alright, well, let's be taking notes. Let's just sit it in there.
Guess
Let's get on
what?
your notes. You need to pay attention.
up. I'm gonna fail.
I found my ACT thingy.
Okay, so if a scalene triangle has no congruent sides, that means all 3 sides are different lengths. So over there on the right, where it has those 3 triangles at the top, which of those would be considered scalene?
The far left one.
Yeah, the first one, the one on the left. So I need you to label that as scalene.
I got you.
Wait, which far left?
At the top 3, the top 3 triangles,
Right here?
right there.
Scalene.
That one's scalene. Now the next type of triangle is isosceles. Isosceles.
I can already answer this one for you.
Alright, so for the definition, you need to write at least 2 congruent sides. At least 2 means 2 or more. And a triangle only has 3, so if it has 2 sides congruent or 3 sides congruent, it would be isosceles. So, out of those top 3 triangles, which one would be considered isosceles?
The middle one.
The middle one?
Yeah.
Any others? The last one would also be considered isosceles because it says at least 2 congruent sides. So the second and third one would both be isosceles. All right, you should be labeling these. We said that one was scalene, and both of these are isosceles.
What is it?
So the first one is scalene, and then the next 2 are isosceles. The one that has the 2 congruent and the one that has all 3 congruent would both be considered isosceles.
What is it called when they're all the same, like
Congruent?
Equilateral.
Equilateral triangles are whenever all 3 sides are congruent. All 3 sides are the same length. So equilateral, equal sides. Lateral means sides or side lengths.
I thought isosceles was at least 2, so it could be 3.
Isosceles could be 3. That's why the top 2 on the right were both isosceles. So
But it says at least 2, so that means there could be more.
Yeah, two or more, so two or three, because a triangle only has three.
Okay,
But a
but there's,
shape-
but why, this one has three, so why is it called?
Yeah, so why would they give it,
But this one has
names.
three.
yeah, so they have two names for the same answer.
It's like lying down and laying down. It's the same thing, but it's just different words.
Alright, so, which of those triangles would be considered equilateral?
The very last one.
The last one. So that last one, you could do it either either of the two, either isosceles or equilateral. Technically, it is considered isosceles, but you usually hear it as equilateral.
It's like if a monkey has two bananas and this is one.
Then it has one left.
Can I teach the notes?
Alright, you can also classify triangles by their angles.
Acute.
That's a
An
cute one.
acute triangle has three acute angles. An acute triangle has three acute angles. What does acute mean?
Smaller
Less
than
than
90.
90.
Less than 90.
Angle.
So all three angles are smaller than 90. So which of those bottom four triangles, which one would be considered acute?
The first one.
Top left.
The top left? Any
Yeah.
others?
That's all.
Oh, top right.
No,
No, the bottom right.
Bottom right.
Bottom
That's
right.
obtuse.
Frick.
Top right.
It means less than 90 degrees.
No, no.
Obtuse is bad.
Yeah, both of the top ones are acute. So both top triangles, the top left and top right would be acute.
Oh, yes.
Kipper, give somebody
And then
else a chance.
Yeah, kid.
A right triangle has one right angle. It can't have more than one. It can only have one.
Or else it'll be a square.
So a
You're
right
smart.
triangle has one right angle.
You and I should come together.
So which of those triangles would be considered a right triangle?
Bottom left.
So
The
show
bottom left. How did you know that that was a right triangle?
Square.
It has that symbol for a 90-degree angle, for a right angle. All right, let's get our hoods down, please. All right, the next one, obtuse. Obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. It can't have more than one. It can only have one.
Or else it'll
What
be a
does
triangle.
obtuse mean?
Bigger than
Bottom
90.
right.
Bigger than 90. So see that big angle? You can see that easily that it's bigger than 90.
Yeah.
Now, your book is wanting you to actually measure it with a protractor. I'm not going to have you do that because we can just pretty much look at it
You
and
can
see
eye
if
it.
it's less than 90, greater than 90. If it's 90, it's going to be marked.
Pretty good at eyeing.
I can eyeball almost anything.
I got a sharp eye on me.
All right, which one of those is obtuse?
The very last one.
Yep, the one on the bottom right.
Equiregular means, I don't know.
Well,
Has
if
a 90-degree
equilateral
angle.
means equal lengths,
Huh?
what does equiangular mean?
Equal.
It has a 90-degree angle.
Now,
my
equiangular, hang on
God.
just a second, Jessica.
What is it?
Equal.
What?
Equiangular means three congruent angles. Three congruent angles means all three angles are the same length.
I see you.
So equilateral means equal size, equal side lengths. Equiangular means equal angle lengths.
That's good, man.
I forgot to write down acute.
All
3 acute angles.
three acute angles.
You should know that definition.
All right, which of those triangles is equiangular?
Top right.
You and
The
I.
top right. So it's acute and equiangular. So it should have two names.
So what happens if you put in one name on Big Ideas and they say it's the other name, but they're both still correct?
Take a screenshot of it and send it to me and I'll fix it.
Oh Lord.
What about on the
Two
bottom
Big
triangle
Ideas
on
for all the
the
money that they have.
Hang up.
Yeah, those are right.
Throw it in reverse,
How's it
Eric.
going?
That's good.
All right, let's do an example.
You went first, Derek.
Is this all we're gonna do?
Set talking.
Or do we have to sign up for this? I love the quick job.
Okay.
Really? What is
That's what he
live?
said. I like global say something.
All right, it says
Yeah.
classify the triangular shape of the support beams in the diagram by its sides and by measuring its angles. All right, so in your picture, it's kind of hard to see, so if you wanna make the marks bigger, you can, so you can see it more easily. But it has this side and this side marked congruent. Like I said, it might be hard to see on your paper, cause yours is not in color.
Cause it's black
I
and
can
white.
just mark it. That's
Exactly.
Alright, please listen.
To see this side.
Even though it looks like this side might be the same length, it's not actually marked, so I can't just assume that it's the same length. So I can only go by what they marked, and since these two are marked congruent, it would be considered isosceles because it has at least two congruent sides. And then by the angles, none of them are marked congruent, and none of them are marked right. So I look to see if they're all less than 90, or if there's one bigger than 90. They're all less than 90, so it would be considered a cube. Now, they do kind of look like they're the same measure, but they're not marked congruent, so I can't just assume they're the same measure. So the only other way I could show that they're all the same was if I used a protractor and measured them, and they came out to all be the same. But if I don't do that, I can't just assume.
Well, let me tell you, that one's 0.1 off from the other ones.
Okay.
So it's not.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have two answers.
Yes, you have to do it by its sides and by measuring its angles. By its sides, it's isosceles, and by the angle, it's a cube.
Some fart.
I smell it.
All right, let's try one together.
Ugh. Why am I so white?
You're orange.
I missed Donald Trump.
What? What's so random?
I missed him. Well, because Donald Trump is
Orange.
It says classify the triangle by its sides and by measuring its angles. So for the sides, you're going to want to see if any are marked congruent.
Isosceles, right.
Sierra, how many sides are marked congruent? So what would that make it considered by its sides? Isosceles, so you need to write down that it's isosceles. And then with its angles.
Right.
Haley, what do you notice about the angles?
anywhere.
Yeah, one of them's a right angle, so what does that mean that the triangle is? A right triangle. So this triangle is isosceles, and it's a right triangle.
Another 0.1 off.
Alright, what questions do you have for me so far?
Will there ever be one that's more than two answers? Or will it only
Ooh, good question. Alright, here's the next one. Owen, what do you notice about the sides of this triangle?
They are all the same.
Okay, so since they're all three congruent, what would that make it?
Right.
congruent? Lateral.
Equilateral.
Equilateral,
Or isosceles.
Ryland. Or you could say isosceles. So I would accept either isosceles or equilateral. Big Ideas would probably only take equilateral, but I would accept either. Alright, now what about the angles?
It's a cube.
Equilateral.
It is a cube because they're all smaller than 90.
It's a cute little angle.
No, it's not. They're all congruent.
How do you know that they're all congruent?
With the line.
The lines are saying that the sides are congruent.
That makes all the angles congruent.
Okay, so
That means they're all under 90.
we do not know this yet, but in section 5 or 6.3, 6.4, we talk about the base angles theorem, which says that in an isosceles triangle, if whatever two sides are congruent, their base angles are also congruent. So these two are congruent, so that would make this one and this one congruent. Well, then these two are also congruent, so that would make this one and that one congruent.
So, that
So
means
we don't necessarily know this yet, but it would also be equiangular.
I pretty much already knew that. You don't have to worry.
But it's a cute at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, no, my eyes closed.
When will we get to section, like,
No.
6.8?
I don't think we'll have a 6.8.
What about, I guess, some?
Alright, we need to move to chunk two, and for chunk two, you need either 2 colored pencils, 2 markers, 2 pens, you need 2 different colors.
What? Let me just look.
How about,
Hey, Casey, can you grab me a couple?
Me too, Ken. Green. What's that poop? Pencil. What's that? My pencil. Right. Chinton. What? Look at my pencil you gave me. Does anyone else need pencils? I do. I need a trade.
Tyler, when you get your 6-inch wood?
Oh, this weekend.
Are you getting rid of those tires?
What? You
Are you getting rid of those tires?
Yeah.
What, how big?
It's probably 22s. I could get
37s?
Or 24s on 37s.
24, 37. It's gonna be a bit of a stretch there. You're gonna stretch it just a little bit.
This one.
What do
This
you
is
have
all
to
we
do?
need?
Just 2, as long as they're different colors.
You're gonna be stretching a little bit.
is it pajama day or something?
We're gonna be
Virtual
freaking.
slash PJ day.
Barely
Top
gonna
hat
make
is
them grab
professional,
rope,
bottom
just
hat
touch
is
the
PJ.
box.
I did not know
put it in the
that.
wheel.
Cool.
Yeah, you ain't gonna have no side.
I love your PJs.
Alright, let's have a seat.
Like I said.
First, right where it
Yeah.
says interior angles on the left side,
Do we need to write this in?
I need you to, this part doesn't matter. I need you to write the definition for interior angles. It's the original angles of a triangle. It's the inside angles of a triangle, the original angles.
Can we just put inside?
The inside angles. And then over there on that picture on the top right, I need you to use one of your colors, sorry,
Yeah.
and color in the 3 interior angles.
Those are the exterior.
Those are exterior.
You go look at
Ah.
Okay, so color in the 3 interior angles. It's the original 3 angles on the inside. Use one color to do the interior.
Interior.
I
Crocodile, alligator.
did it wrong.
I drive a Cadillac.
But it's okay
DeVille.
because if I'm way.
Yeah, dude.
I drive a Mercedes Benz.
Alright, so color the 3 interior angles one color.
Oh, gosh, you dang.
Now I need you to go down to exterior angles, and I need you to write the definition for exterior angles.
Outside.
My name is Papa.
Exterior angles are the angles that form linear pairs with the interior angles. So exterior angles, for the definition, you need to write the angles that form linear pairs with the interior angles.
Angles
Yes,
that
sir.
Well, these
form
are the same definitions we did on
linear
Friday.
It could be.
pairs.
Yeah, they are. They're the same exact ones. I remember.
My name
that.
Angles that form linear
I did
pairs.
them last night.
What day time?
Alright. Then I need you to color your exterior angles a different color.
Are you serious?
So serious.
So notice, here's angle A. If you extend one of the sides, the exterior angle would be the angle that forms a linear pair. Now, all the way back from chapter 2 or 3, what exactly is a linear pair?
But I don't.
They add up to 180 degrees. They're adjacent and they're supplementary. Okay, so like if angle A was 50, Seth, what would be the measure of this exterior angle?
50.
130.
130, because they have to add up to 50.
I think I learned this in 7th grade.
You should have.
My name is Papa and I'm a pimp.
Alright, so when you're finished, your top picture over there should look something like
Me and Papa
this.
John go.
So, in order to find these angle measures, you're going to need to know sometimes that these 2 angles form a linear pair, which means they add up to 180. Alright, so let's talk about the triangle sum theorem. So first I need you to write down the definition to the triangle sum theorem. It says, you should write this down over on the left.
Yep.
The sum, which means to add, of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So write that, right now you need to be writing that definition down.
Some of the measures
Yes, sir.
How mad would you be if I write it down on the right?
You should be writing it down on the left.
How? It literally has.
The sum of the measures what? Oh, it's up there. Okay.
Were you actually writing down the right?
No. Thought about it.
Alright, after you get done writing the definition to triangle sum theorem, over there on the right where it says triangle sum theorem and it has the picture, you need to write this formula. The measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C is 180 degrees. So A plus B plus C, the inside three angles would have to add up to 180.
They have to add up to 180.
So this one would be, the three angles would be the same, but
No, because they don't.
so it's gonna be 3 times that number equals 180.
Are you talking about the three that are the same?
No, not always, because the sides couldn't be might not be the same size.
Like, look, okay, if it's like
They're
this,
definitely not the same
these
size.
three, they would. add
Well,
up.
no, because they're the same
That's a
size.
perfect triangle. This isn't.
Not, they won't always be the same measure.
Yeah,
I know,
so
but
you
I'm
can't do it.
saying,
Stop. Shut.
Alright, the next theorem we're going to need is the exterior angle theorem. And you need to write down the definition first over on the left.
Wait, do we not do any coloring on that one?
No,
I
you just
did.
have to write the formula down. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the two non-adjacent interior
Gosh,
angles.
that's like a whole paragraph.
Alright, so I'll give you a moment to copy that down before I explain what that one means. After you write the definition, over there on the right below the picture, you need to write this formula. The measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B.
woo,
Hey now, do it real
It's that.
What?
We better drill tell you today.
You never trust that. Sound that.
never trust the salmon.
Alright, so
Salmon.
on this, what this means is,
Do that.
let's say this angle here, this interior angle at C was 40, and then this one was 60, and then this one was 80. I can find the measure of this exterior angle here by adding together 60 plus 80.
120.
Try that again.
140.
That would be 140. Now the measure of angle 1 is 140 degrees. The reason why that works, because A, B, and C, all three have to add up to 180.
I tried.
So if C is 40, that leaves these two to add up to 140. Well, these two angles here, the interior at C and the exterior at C, also have to add up to 180.
No.
So if C is 40, then that leaves angle 1 to be 140
140.
because they have to add up to be 180.
Do they actually?
Okay, I get it, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't get this. Like, 80 plus 60 plus 40 is 180.
But it's that's why it says the two non-adjacent interior angles. So the two that
Got
are
it
not
now.
next to it. Let's not do that, please.
Those ain't 180, though, it's 140.
And that's why angle 1 is 140.
80, 90.
Alright, I'll show you an example. It says find the measure of angle 1, then classify the triangle by its angles. Alright, so I noticed here's angle 1, it's an interior, and it gave me the other two interior. So I'm going to use the triangle sum theorem, which says they all three add up to 180. Well, first I got to see what these two add up to, so I do 78 plus 31. 8 plus 1 is 9, 7 plus 3 is 10. So these two add up to 109 degrees. Well, they're all three supposed to add up to 180, so I would do 180 minus 109.
71 degrees.
I'm not getting that.
71.
10 minus 9 is 1, 7 minus 0 is 7, so the measure of angle 1 would be 71 degrees.
You are a smart little one.
Did I not call that?
Alright, then it says to classify it, none of them are congruent, none of them are obtuse, none of them are right, so this would be an acute
Cute.
triangle.
Can't keep up.
Did you know tri means 3, bi means 2, and uni means 1?
I'm not.
Did you know that bullet means stupid?
I'm not very stupid since I know them 3 and you don't.
You just told me that.
Correct.
You know that.
Alright, I'm gonna show you another example. I have a second teacher model.
It's something and just like no, it's just.
It says find the measure of the exterior angle, and it's wanting me to find the measure of angle 2.
Okay, 64 plus 75
Alright.
is 800.
It's a teacher model. Alright, so the exterior angle theorem says that the exterior angle is equal to the two non-adjacent angles added together. So you would add 64 plus 75.
And you get 139.
Alright, so 4 plus 5 is 9, 6 plus 7 is 13.
41 degrees.
So the measure of angle 2 is 139 degrees.
Yeah,
Where'd
so
you-
that
where'd
means,
you
that
get
means
that?
the other one is 41.
Yes, this one here would be 41.
Where'd you get E at?
Exterior angle theorem.
Do you put that? Would you put that or no, since they're not asking?
It didn't ask you for it, so you didn't, but if it asked you to classify the triangle, then yes, you would need to find this one, which is 41, and then you would say it was a cube. But it didn't ask you for it, so you would just say 139 degrees.
Alright,
I remember that.
You are a smart little man.
Alright, let's do one together.
I'm hungry.
I don't get speaking. Sounds
I'm
fun.
going to pop
Find the measure of the indicated angle, then we need to also classify the triangle. So first you need to decide, are they all interior or are there any
They're all
exterior? Yeah, it's just interior angles, so we're going to use triangle sum theorem. Portia, what does this triangle sum theorem say about the interior angles? They
Oh,
all
this
three
is
add up to
easy.
what?
It's 30.
They all add up to 180.
What does TST stand for?
Triangle sum theorem. Alright, so if all three of these have to add up to 180, and this
30.
one's 130 and that one's 20,
30.
Alexis R., how do I go about figuring out this angle measure here?
You would do 130 plus 20, which would give you 150, and then you subtract 150 from 180, and you'll get 30.
So that angle's 30 degrees?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, Sai, what type of triangle would this be?
Obtuse angle,
Why is it obtuse?
because if the corner is bigger than 1, or bigger than 90.
Yeah, this one's bigger than 90, so this would be considered obtuse.
Okay, I'm confused.
Sorry.
Where are you getting all this TST, AT?
Triangle sum theorem, the first letters.
That is a steroid.
So you put that on every single one of them?
If I'm using triangle sum theorem, I do.
You don't have to though, do you?
This is just so they can see where my numbers are coming from. Alright, let's try the next one together.
Are we hosting a show right now?
Now this one, are we going to be using triangle sum theorem or exterior angle theorem?
Exterior angle.
Yeah, because this is an exterior angle, which says it's these two added together. Oh, but they don't give me this angle.
Well, that's okay because, see, at the top angle, 137 plus something has to equal 180. So,
Why?
because they're linear, and linear equals 180. So, you're going to take 180, and you're going to subtract it from 137. Now, that's going to give you
143.
43. Not 143, 43.
That's what I said, it said 43.
No.
Brayden, is that the same thing you want to say?
No.
Okay, so what does this 43 give me?
Well, it's going to give you the top angle, and then you're going
Of
to
the
add that.
triangle?
Yes. And then you're going to add that's 102, and that's going to give you 145, and
And
then
this one will be
that's what the
145.
answer is. It's 145.
Yeah, because the exterior angle theorem says it's these two added together, so that means this angle down here would be 145 degrees.
Yeah, we put it that way.
I did it all from my head. It's not the next.
Wait, why did you add 102 to 43?
because of exterior angle theorem says an exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two non-adjacent interior angles. So these are the two non-adjacent interior angles, so you would add them together to get this angle.
How do you know all these theorems? I'm so confused right now.
Cause
Because you wrote it down at the beginning.
she
of
has a
the
master's degree.
She's smart.
She
You
doesn't
know
get
how to put phone in the
the,
caddy.
yeah.
Sorry, God.
I was looking the other way.
Alright, you're gonna do the next two with your partner. Remember, when you're working with your partner, hang on just a second, so that way everybody can hear. You need to explain to your partner your thought process, because whenever we're finished, I'm gonna call on random people to tell us the answers, as well as explain their thought process on how they found it. You may have to use theorems from like chapters 1, 2, and 3. Alright, go ahead, turn your desk to face each other. Grace, you're gonna work with Owen